And welcome back to the locker room. Just going to have a quick chat to Bozza and get Bozza's thoughts on 2017 and a few highlights from him. Good morning, Bozza.
Hi, Mossy. How you going?
Going very well. And 2017 in rugby union. Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, it won't be a year looked back upon fondly by rugby fans in Australia. The Super Rugby season was played under the cloud of one side being removed for next season, and the Aussie team just couldn't win all those at all. It was a disaster for all of them. The way that the Super Rugby, the competition works, is that one of them had to qualify for the finals, which ended up being the Brumbies, and they did it with a very underwhelming season record of 6-9. It was a terrible year for the Australian teams in Super Rugby, and in the end, the long-running drama of which team would bite the dust was made, and the Western Force were the team that made way for next year. And we have the story still sort of running in the sense that we've got mining magnate Twiggy Forrester trying to start up a competition for the Force to sort of play in. It wasn't much better for the Wallabies either. The highlights of the year were pretty much a second place finish in the Rugby Championship and a third test victory over the All Blacks. But it was a disastrous year, bookended by disappointing defeats to Scotland.
When is the next World Cup for the rugby union?
2019.
2019. So basically, let's call it 18 months away from it. Australia is sitting down the pecking order at this stage.
There's a couple of sides that are out and about, but we're in that sort of third tier of countries at the moment, sort of behind. So New Zealand are out and front, and you've got like England and possibly sort of Ireland sort of in that sort of next sort of batch, and we're sort of in a log jam of teams in that next sort of tier below that, I would suggest. So it just seems to be they lack consistency. The sort of performances that they put up against the All Blacks, the series against the All Blacks sort of sums that up. Like the first half, the first test, the Wallabies were completely blown off the paddock. And then the second test, they should have won. And the third test, they did win. And then, then a few months later, they get absolutely obliterated by Scotland in Scotland. It's just it's a hot mess at the moment.
Going back to the dilemma of which team was going to go, did they make the right decision in the end as to which team, if a team had to go, did they make the right one getting rid of the Western Force?
I think they did, but it sort of makes a mockery of the decision they made, I think it's about 10 years ago now, when they had to choose between coming into Melbourne or Perth in the first place, and they chose to go to Perth. And then obviously the Melbourne Rebels came in a few years later. But I think in the end, Melbourne being a larger city with a little bit more financial backing, it was a decision they had to make. But it was a disaster. But the whole system getting there was just horrible, and it was a textbook example of how not to make sporting decisions, I would have thought.
What about some sporting highlights for you for 2017?
Well, there's one happening as we speak. Basically, the Aussies regaining the Ashes while the series continued on Boxing Day at the MCG. Ownership of the Little Earn has been decided, and we would suggest as Australians that the natural world order has been restored. Steve Smith's men have been dominant in the big moments of the series. Like there's been an arm wrestle at different stages, but when it's been time to sort of put the foot down and sort of go for the kill, England haven't really been able to go with Australia in those moments. And it looks like there's a potential another 5-0 series victory. That said, we're sort of in a situation now, like the last 9 series, there's only been one series won by the visiting team. So the bigger question will be is can they sort of repeat this in 2 years' time when we go back to England and sort of become the first Australian team to win in England since like 2001, I think it is.
It's been a while, that's for sure. It's something they've got to rectify, but that will hopefully take care of itself in due course. But obviously at the moment, Mitchell Stark's in doubt, and Tim Payne possibly as well due to his father-in-law just having a stroke. So haven't heard a name as the keeper as to who's going to come in and be the keeper. Maybe they might put Hanscom back in and maybe keep Bancroft. Maybe they might do that.
Yeah, look, it'll be an interesting situation. They obviously have intentions of keeping Hanscom around. They didn't sort of release him to go play with the Stars, and they've sort of named him in the squad the next test. So they, it seems to be like the Australian selectors, unlike other players that they've sort of dropped and sort of let go into the wilderness, there seems to be a real desire to sort of keep Hanscom around. And there's the option of having Bancroft keep, or if you sort of wanted to sort of maintain Bancroft as an opener pressure and sort of the fear of having your opening batsman keep that you could possibly have Hanscom keep, I guess.
Well, you could have Hanson keep as well. So there's certainly options there, that is for sure. What about some of the other highlights? The Ashes, have you got any other highlights for us?
AFLW Season 1. Could the first season of AFLW have kicked off in any better style? A lockout crowd at Princes Park to watch Carlton take on Collingwood. I went to that game and was caught up in the public transport meltdown as the system just failed miserably to ferry fans to the Blues Fortress. There were a lot of detractors throughout the season, sort of throwing up a different bits and pieces about it all, but it would be impossible to declare it anything other than a raging success. It was a long time coming, but thankfully it looks like it's here to stay, and the sort of movement in sort of getting women's sports up and about is sort of taking big goals. We've got like the NRL kicking off their own women's competition next year, and you sort of have a lot of reports of the New South Wales women's cricket team becoming full-time professionals. It's small steps towards where it needs to be, but it's moving well and truly in the right direction.
All right, so there's a few highlights here. We've gone across a few different sports this morning with the different people we've had on this morning. Bozza, thank you very much for your time this morning and your inputs in 2017. Have a Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Bossy.
And we'll catch up with you in 2018. Oh, actually, before you go, what sporting events have you got planned to go to next year? Is anything on the agenda for you in early 2018?
Well, nothing major overseas-wise. I'm looking forward to the State of Origin coming to Melbourne. That's the big one, and hopefully a secure grand final would be nice.
As I was saying earlier to someone, it was just saying that it doesn't take much. Look at the Bulldogs, look at Richmond. It doesn't take much. St Kilda and Melbourne have got to go. Why not us?
Yeah. And look, and then that's the thing, is that we're sort of sitting at a point, not that I'm predicting that to happen, but I mean, we're at a point now where the competition seems to be about as even as it has ever been. So it's that just those couple of players sort of stepping up that haven't. And you look at the Richmond Premiership side and the Bulldogs Premiership side. It sort of came from players that there wasn't an awful lot of expectations on, sort of making major steps up. And there's no reason why a side can't follow in their footsteps.
All right. Well, thanks again, Bozza, and have a good break, and we'll catch you in 2018.